Hey everybody, I'm your host Brendan. Welcome to another episode of SwingBadder. I'm joined by my favorite, and we're really excited today. Todd, how are you doing? How's New York?
It's great. I have the green baghead Yeti here.
Money.
And also, what you don't see is I'm doing my kettlebell workout on the side. Yeah, I just got to work out the elbow, right? Get this thing going, right? Because God knows.
As BadderSports Network, we do not condone this behavior. But SwingBadder, carry on.
Somebody's got to do the heavy lifting around here.
Certainly not you. Hey, Dad, how you doing? Welcome to SwingBadder.
Well, I think it's very unique. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Is that we're in World Series playoff time, and nobody's playing in New York City.
And that's what our episode's about today. For everyone, welcome in. We're going to be going over the wild card round. We call it the wild card round because that's exactly what it is. And we're excited about it because there is no New York teams and because there's also no Boston teams. So what is ESPN going to do? I don't know, not cover this. So we're going to give you our picks, we're going to give you our favorites, and we're going to give you who we think has no chance whatsoever, based on the odds makers and us, the three of us, the SwingBadder audience. So we are going to keep the Diamondbacks to the very end because they're a homer and they made the playoffs and the Mets did not. So we're going to start in the American League. The American League has 4 fantastic teams. In fact, I think this round is going to be really exciting, and the people that get out certainly have a shot. The Rays face and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays are the wild card. They're actually going to the Rangers, I believe. The Rangers... Oh, no. I apologize. You're right. Rangers not win their division. The Rangers on the last day lost their division to Houston, which was terrible, in a 1-0 defeat to Seattle. Therefore, they are a wild card. They're going to the Rays, who is the strongest wild card, one of the strongest teams in the American League. The Rays face off against the Rangers. The Rangers will not be playing at their barn of a stadium, and no playoffs have played there since the COVID World Series. So the Rays versus the Rangers. The Rays have been here before. They like to lose in these wild card rounds. I'm going to start with Dad. Who do you like, and who do you want to persuade us on?
I have long believed that there is no momentum in baseball. Baseball's momentum depends on who's pitching tomorrow, not on how you did the days before. So if you believed in momentum, you would wash the Rangers out for just letting it all get away from them. So I'm going to swim upstream and say that the Rangers are going to turn it around and upset Tampa in this series.
Okay, that's fair selection. Todd, what says you? Dad's just going right into his pick. We want to give us pros and cons? You want to just jump into who you think is going to make it through the 3-game series here?
So one would think that the Rays would be an easy pick because they started out the season really hot. But I think this series in particular is going to be determined by who is injured and who is not, and who you can have faith in and who you cannot have faith in. I'm going to leave it there. Pay attention to who's injured because there are key moments in a 3-game series that you're going to have to take a look at, and I think that that's going to be a real issue for these teams here.
Do you want to give us your selection, or you want me to persuade you on mine?
Why don't you go with yours? We can hear how wrong and misguided you are, as usual, and then we can talk about why I'm right.
Okay, well, here's where I'm at. The Rangers have a much more loaded payroll overall. SwingBadder is about paying less money and getting more value. The Rays certainly did that this year. They paid less than everybody else, and they got tremendous value. The manager of the Rays also plays a 3-game series much smarter than the Rangers will. However, the Rangers do have a good manager who comes over from the San Francisco Giants. He has a catcher pedigree, and I believe he won a World Series, already, if I remember correctly. However, the reason why I'm not going with the Rangers is the final 6 outs seems to be an issue for the Rangers. Dad, you can talk about momentum all you want. We can talk about how there is no momentum, and I agree with you, but there is a problem with the Rangers trying to close out a game. And I will tell you, last year, there is a team that waited for 2 games. Seattle had Houston dead to right. They had them dead in the first game of a 3-game series. And Houston came back in the bottom of the 9th and beat them. And then again, beat them the next game in many extra innings. Houston demoralized them on that one game. Losing a game that you're ahead in the final 3 outs, the final 6 outs, is devastating in a 3-game playoff because it feels like you're so far behind. Therefore, in my little opinion, the Rays, and your dogs agree with me, the Rays are going to take this series. And I know that's an odd thing because the Rays don't typically win these series. I think they're going to use their pitching to their advantage. They're going to use many pitchers. Their hitting will be timely like it always is. And I think the Rays, being at home in front of their 10,000 fans, will make it to the next round. That is my vote. That's my pick for this first round. That's vote number 1 for the Rays. Todd,
Question for you. Mm-hmm. Does the injury to McClanahan and does the injury to Adams affect what you're thinking with the Rays?
No,
Adams as the setup man and McClanahan as pitcher.
No, because the Rays continue to bring up staff and have pitchers that can get 3 outs, 6 outs, what have you. The Rangers have shown me this whole year that they struggle with the final 3 to 6 outs in a lead. That's going to be a big problem. How do you trust? What do you do? Again, we'll see how they play the game. My vote is for the Rays. As a SwingBadder fan, fan of low payroll, high value, the Rays are my pick to move on to the next round. And then
I understand that, but do you
face off in the budget buster the Orioles versus the Rays, which will break my heart because one of my teams has to go.
Okay, so do you think that the Rangers' offense has enough to overpower the Rays' pitching? Because Rangers' offense is pretty good.
On paper, you would say yes. However, they get paid a lot of money, and that money tends to build up on your shoulders in the playoffs. And the higher paid individuals don't usually come through when you want them to. I got the Rays. You can't change my mind. Rays are good. Dad?
They led the league with games that were 10 runs or more.
The Rays did, or the Rangers.
Rangers.
Yeah, that's not playoff baseball. The Rangers are not winning with 10 runs against the Rays. The Rays have too much pitching. They're not going to let you score that many runs. And the Rangers offense and all of this money that they spent, they should be the ones producing to win because they spent all that money on that offense. So I don't have them. That's my pick. I have the Rays. Dad,
I feel like I'm the swing vote here.
You could be. Well, it goes to Dad. Dad could just close this thing out because, again, Dad, to his heart, is a SwingBadder, pay and then get massive value for little dollars. That's in his heart.
Down the stretch when everyone was burying the Rangers, I kept saying, don't give up on the Rangers, don't give up on the Rangers. And they did kind of fade in the last couple games. But I'm just not going to give up on the Rangers. I think they're going to find a way and upset Tampa.
Dad, that goes against everything you believe in.
Dad likes the Rangers because he has 2 sons that live in Texas and he wants to keep talking to them. I, however, have absolutely burnt the bridge of my family's relationships, and I'm not interested in talking to those brothers anymore. The Rangers will be defeated.
Over this?
Yes, they'll never talk to me again. They're such Ranger fans. Let's just pretend. So the Rangers. So there you go. You are the swing voter, Todd. You are Arizona in a giant election. You're kind of purple. So where are you going to go? Who's your pick? Who's the SwingBadder pick?
I have to think about this in terms of the Mets.
Oh.
The Rangers have DeGrom and Scherzer around.
They do.
DeGrom and Scherzer are noted chokers in the postseason, as we saw last year. So because of that, because the Rangers' pitching is cursed by the mere presence of these absolute choke fests, I'm going with the Rays.
You have 2 votes Rays, 1 vote Rangers. I will give it to Dad. He did want the Rangers to make the playoffs. Sadly, they didn't get that bye, which I think would have been tremendous to help them. I do agree with you about momentum. That's the first American League matchup. The winner would face on the Orioles. The next matchup, I'm a little less excited about. It's the Blue Jays are back in the playoffs again, and the Twins. And to me, this is give or take. Here's my big take on this one, and I'll be the last one to vote on this one. Toronto has all the players to be able to make this happen. They have all the bats, similar to the Rangers. They have good pitching, similar to the Rangers. They should be the ones that make it. Because to me, the Twins are a wounded animal going to the playoffs. They have injury issues. We're not strong all year. They're in the worst division. So I think the Twins are the weakest one here in the American League, in my opinion, based on what I'm looking at. But Toronto continues to underperform in the playoffs time and time and time again.
I think the Blue Jays got a lot of names.
Tons of names.
They got a lot of names on offense. Those names should, I'm just looking here, those names should be performing. They absolutely should be performing. Springer. Yeah, I mean,
you can keep going down. You have Chapman.
Right. Where are they? Why are they not making the splashes they should be making? That's my question on the Blue Jays. But then Blue Jays have good pitching too. Mm-hmm. They have great pitching. But the Twins took Carlos Correa, who the Mets rejected because of injury. I think you know where I stand.
He's not playing in the series, I don't believe, because of an injury.
Neither are DeGrom and Scherzer. They're still going to have an impact.
So you're saying, so just to clarify, you're saying that the injured Mets will have an impact on series by not playing.
And Correa wasn't even a Met.
Never was a Met, but he was mentioned.
But he talked to the Mets. He did medical with the Mets.
He visited the facility.
Right, and I do like all of the dads of the guys who played for the Blue Jays. So I'm picking the Blue Jays.
Todd's first pick.
This is totally scientific.
Todd's first pick has the Blue Jays. This would be a second AL East member getting to the Final Four of the AL. Dad, what do you got?
I think we just have to look at the competition. Had the Blue Jays been in Minnesota's division, they would have walked away with it. They would have at least 3 or 4 more wins than they have now. They were in a division with Baltimore and Tampa. Say what you want about the Yankees. They played 500 ball. I think that Toronto just is a better team. They played tougher competition, and they're more prepared for this series and should handle Minnesota, even though they're on the road for 3 games.
So we have 2 votes for Toronto. Playoff baseball is in Minnesota. Minnesota has a wonderful sports town, and this is when Joey Gallo earns the big bucks, as you would say, for Minnesota. Now, I could vote for Minnesota just to be different, but in all reality, I personally am cheering for Toronto because I'm tired of the heartbreak for our Canadian brothers and sisters. However, Toronto's hockey team can't win a Stanley Cup, and it would be immoral for Toronto to win another World Series. Therefore, my pick goes against you two. I'm going with the Twins because the Twins make no sense whatsoever, and that's why they're going to win.
Of course. Why not?
So we have the Blue Jays moving on to play Houston, and we have Baltimore playing the Rays. Do you give any of the 2 teams that you selected a chance to get to? They obviously have a chance to get the World Series. What would you say would you put dollar on for a Toronto or a Rays team to get to the World Series and win it?
Over
to get
the Orioles?
Yeah, to make a run. Does a wild card team have the chances to make a run in the American League?
If they do, it's the Rays just because of what they did at the beginning of the year, and it's fun. It's fun. It would be fun to see the Rays in the World Series because, dear sweet God, like who predicted that at the beginning of the year?
Okay, right.
And it would make everybody so angry. Yeah. That's why I just want to see pure rage.
Okay, Dad.
No, not the ones I picked.
You got neither team. I would agree with you. I don't think either team. Although I do think Houston has fatigue, but I mean to your point, I just don't see any of these American League wildcard teams moving forward. All right, that takes us over to the National League, and we're still going to win the Diamondbacks because they're our favorite. So the first matchup, which I'm not that interested in, only because I think it's already kind of over. The Philadelphia Phillies are playing the Miami Marlins of Florida. In Philadelphia, the Phillies are hosting in the land of brotherly love. The fans are excellent there. Home field advantage for the Phillies. We all know what they did last year, making the run to the World Series as a wild card team. So they face off against the surprise Miami Marlins. And if we're going to look at which division was powerful in the AL East was fantastic. In the NL, you have the Phillies, you have Miami, and you have the Braves. You could argue that the NL East was just as fantastic. So that's what we're sitting on. So you have an NL East matchup between Miami and Philadelphia. I don't know how they did against each other this year. I just know on paper and what I'm looking at, I think Philadelphia looks pretty strong to me. However, I'll be the second one to vote. Dad, you're number one this time to vote for the Phillies versus the Miami Marlins.
Well, I guess you could say I'm kind of bipolar today because I made a big deal of the Rangers to ignore the downward, quote, momentum they're in and just ignore it. But on this one, I have been watching the Marlins for about 2 or 3 weeks, and they are playing really good ball, including a sweep of the Atlanta Braves. This team's really playing well. They're getting clutch hits. They just seem to be doing the right thing. And even though I said momentum doesn't count, I just have one of those feelings that Bryce Harper's going home. And Miami is going to sit there and everyone's going to say, what is this? But they're going to move on. That's just my gut.
So you have Miami advancing over Philadelphia. So you have two teams that literally have some of the lowest attendance in baseball moving on. The Rays.
Yeah, so it's to their advantage to be
Miami.
playing away from home.
Again, going against everything you said with the Rays, that brings me to my take of who I think is going to win. Philadelphia Phillies are ready and poised for this run. They made a run last year, the World Series. It was really exciting for them. They added Trey Turner for this exact reason. This is why you wanted Trey Turner. I think Trey Turner is going to come up huge in this playoff series. I do agree Miami is one of those teams that can bite you. And it's a 3-game series, and you get a great start from your first starter, and they have fantastic pitching, like you were saying. They do have a really great team. This will be interesting, but I think the long ball destroys the Miami and Philadelphia. That's just the reality of what Philadelphia brings. They love hitting the long ball. I have the Phillies winning this one. 1 vote Phillies, 1 vote Miami. Todd?
So how is Alcantara going to do in this wild card? Oh, that's right. He's not playing. How is Perez going to do in this wild card? Oh, that's right. He's not playing. So we're basing the vote on the fact that they swept the Braves, who at that point in the season just didn't care. Didn't care because they had locked up the whole National League East and a bye in the wild card 6 months ago, something like that. It's ridiculous. Miami doesn't have the offense that Philly has, doesn't have the pitching that Philly has, which means that Miami is going to lose because the Phillies are better. I don't know what else to tell you.
So we got 2 picks for the Phillies, 1 pick for the Miami Marlins, and the Phillies. If this is the AL East bracket, I'm sorry, the NL East bracket. Just the winning team of the NL East showdown in the wild card faces off against the Braves. Again, I think baseball could do a better job of these matchups. I'll get into that in just a minute. But Philadelphia versus the Braves. Obviously, I think the Braves are a heavy favorite there. But we have the Phillies moving on. That takes us to the matchup of the wild card weekend for us, or the wild card week, the 3-day festivities, if you will. The Diamondbacks made it into the playoffs. We don't know how. Don't ask questions of how this occurred. Don't look at their plus minus. Don't look at how they got these wins. Don't look how they made it while the Cubs fell all over themselves at the end. But the Diamondbacks are in. Furthermore, the Diamondbacks gets to play the Brew Crew. The Brewers are in, despite the fact that they also played in the worst division in the National League. They had that locked up for quite a while because there was really no other competition in the division. So the Brewers haven't played meaningful baseball in quite a while the Diamondbacks have been scrapping and clawing for their very collective lives. I know that this is the series I'm watching. I hope you at home are looking forward to this series. I think this goes 3 games. I think it's going to be competitive, but I know my pick. Let's see what Todd has to say.
So let me get this straight. The Mets bring on a new president of baseball operations by the name of Stearns, who was previously with the Braves, where he developed a pitching lab, which allowed the Brewers to have one of the best pitching staffs going into the postseason. Okay? The Brewers also acquired from the Mets at the trade deadline one Mark Canha, who has become superhuman and is an offensive juggernaut. And in the meantime, you have the dried up and wasted pitching staff of the Diamondbacks, who maybe so you got Gallen, and then, but after him, what? So, okay, you're going to go 3 games because you got one starter? That's it?
Not so fast.
Who else? Who else is? Oh, you have 2 starters.
Merrill Kelly has a lower earned run average, I think, than Gallen.
Oh, okay. So swing away, Merrill, as they say in signs. I'm reading the signs, and all signs say that because of the connection to the New York Mets, and Craig Counsell will be the next manager of the New York Mets. Thank you, Lord in heaven. Checkmate, atheists. Now, Brewers are going to win, and they might win in 2, and they might actually have to pull one of those little league what's the little league thing with the mercy rule where you have to give up after 4 innings because you're winning by 25 runs or something like that. Mark Canha will have 16 RBIs in 2 games and the whole thing will be over. Brewers in 1.5 games. That's what I'm calling on this 3-game series.
So for the record, the Mets that are injured and part of the other teams are going to help them lose.
This is
because this ex-Met is playing, he's going to help the Brewers win.
Pure science. This is pure science. There's nothing. And I don't even care that the Diamondbacks have fam. I don't even care. Doesn't matter. You have fam all you want. You're lucky you're even in. The only reason you're in the playoffs is because the Reds lost.
And the Cubs. Don't forget the Cubs lost too.
Okay, come on. Seriously?
Yeah, we're very proud. We're in the playoffs.
No, I mean, seriously. That's okay. Great. You made it.
Yes, we did.
Thumbs up. Have a pudding.
Very excited. Dad, I'm going to be the deciding vote here, clearly, I think. But Dad, I don't know. Maybe Dad's not going to be a homer. Dad.
There's extra cauliflower pizza if you think like a real person.
Actually,
like a real person
this
here.
sets up really well for the Diamondbacks. They can't use their first 2 pitchers in game. They can't use their first 2 pitchers in game 1 because they had to pitch at the end of the year. So they're starting this guy named Brandon Pfaadt. Pfadt.
Great name.
Struggled. He's a rookie. He struggled with the home run ball. His last outing, he went 6 shutout innings. I think he struck out 8. The guy is got wicked stuff if he can get it over the plate and not hang it. If the Brewers get by Pfaadt, they then face Gallen and Kelly back to back. Now, granted, the Diamondbacks have starting pitching problems, but Gallen and Kelly are both really good. I think it sets up really well for them. And there's another factor. America hasn't seen how great Corbin Carroll is. Corbin Carroll is an amazing baseball player. He hit over 25 home runs and over 50 stolen bases.
Speed.
He's hit in the clutch. Diamondbacks got a ton of guys who can run. So if they get on base, they're going to cause problems. I think it sets up well for an upset here. So I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks.
This isn't an upset, folks. The NL Central and the AL Central need to be removed. However, I will say, as you just heard me a little bit earlier, I picked the Twins just because the other 2 said they're picking the Blue Jays, and they're from Canada. This is real easy for me. The Diamondbacks have more speed. The Diamondbacks have more charisma. The Diamondbacks have the it for this one series because the winner of this plays the Dodgers, and that's like scaling a skyscraper without any gear whatsoever. So I think you're going to have an NL West matchup with the Diamondbacks versus the Dodgers, which doesn't bode well for the Diamondbacks at all. However, I'm looking forward to the next 3 games because that's my playoff. I got the Diamondbacks. 2 for the Diamondbacks, 1 for the Brewers, the Brew Crew. I also would like to point out that Yelich Christian is
awesome. Is insane right now and having the time of his life, and you will repent.
this contract he has signed has been one of the worst contracts in Major League Baseball. This may be the first year he's done anything. However, Mr.
He's going to earn it. He's going to earn it. Here it comes.
I doubt it. He'll be injured before the end of the series.
Here comes the Yelich train. Yelich and Canna coming down the pike. Here they come. Right?
Oh, we got more whiteboards. He's calling his shot for game one. So here we go, folks. Everyone get ready. The best part about baseball for the baseball fans is you get 4 games 3 days in a row. You get 12 games of baseball, everybody. If they all go 3 games. Now, if they don't, you still get a nice 8 guaranteed games of baseball 2 days in a row. So if you have to take time off from work, turn the TV on while you're working from home, or just turn the old apps on your phone, watch away some baseball, we got lots of baseball for you. And it's on everything. It's on all the good channels. One thing to note, on the National League side, like we asked the American League side, does any of the National League wild cards have a chance to upset these 2 juggernauts that are sitting there waiting in the wings to go to the World Series? As a wild card National League team, have a chance. Dad, what say you?
Nah. The Braves and the Dodgers are clearly the best teams maybe in all of baseball, certainly National League. And I don't see anybody beating either of them in the next round.
Okay. Todd?
God, I hate the Braves. I just hate them, but they're so good. The Braves lineup is ridiculous. I can't wait till the PitchCom scandal finally reveals that the Braves have been cheating all year. But until somebody blows it out and actually claims and to know something about the PitchCom scandal, the Braves are going to win everything. So it's not even close. They might score 900 runs in the World Series.
My projection is going to shock all of you because I'm crazy. I don't think the Dodgers and Braves play each other.
What?
Because this is what baseball does to you. It makes no sense whatsoever that the Dodgers would lose, and it makes no sense that the Braves would lose in a series against any of these wild card teams. In all reality, you would want to watch the Dodgers play the Braves. However, the Dodgers have one of the worst managers in playoff baseball history.
This is true.
And for some reason or another, the Phillies are one of those teams that you just are difficult to defeat in the playoffs because of the home run ball. And when they get hot, all it takes is 2 of those guys to get hot, and I'm telling you, the world ends. So,
also, I will say this. The playoffs are the Braves' kryptonite.
That's also a fair statement. Yes. For as talented as the Braves have been, they lack the World Series rings to go along with it.
It's like Mordor. It's like Mordor for like if the Braves are like hobbits, it's like going into Mordor. They just lose all their ability to be human or anything or hobbit people. They just turn evil.
My prediction is the Diamondbacks face the Phillies in the National League Championship game, and everybody sits there and does exactly what you guys do and say, "I can't believe it." I will tell you this. It was 50-1 odds for the Orioles to win their division. I hope everyone is collecting their payments. I did say that was a great long shot bet. Right now, the odd makers have the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, and the Brewers as the least likely. Put some money on the Diamondbacks. Speed kills. Speed creates things. The Diamondbacks have the worst odds in the playoffs, but they're in the playoffs. And it makes no sense that they could do this, and that's why you play the game.
So what are the odds of them getting to the championship game?
I just have the World Series odds of winning the World Series.
What is it for the Diamondbacks?
They're basically 3,000
to 1.
3,000. No, it's not 3,000 to 1. Like if you're betting $100, you get $3,000.
It's an easy bet. Make the bet.
That's what I'm saying.
Make the bet.
Put $100 down on the Diamondbacks. It's not a bad decision.
Yeah.
They're facing the Brew Crew. They're facing the worst manager in baseball, and you're hoping the Phillies get hot and then cool off right after they finish the Braves.
Yeah, and then you'll know you've lost $100 within 2 games.
Or you can get really nuts and pay $1,000 and try to win $30,000 and get that nice set of tires for your vehicle with inflation.
That's true.
Options. One area I want to discuss that baseball needs to figure out: the wild card versus the divisional winner. The Rays are clearly basically the 3rd or 2nd best team going into the playoffs by their record. However, because they're considered a wild card, they will have to play the worst, not the worst wild card team, but basically the second best wild card team. They're considered a 2 seed. They play the 3 seed. The worst wild card seed faces off against the divisional player, which was Toronto facing off against the Twins. Those two teams' records should face the Orioles. Instead, the Rays face off against the Rangers, 2 versus 3. Because 2 versus 3, because you're thinking that the divisional winner is better. But the divisional winner of the AL Central and the NL Central were not playing competitive baseball for the entirety of the year. They weren't even challenged. There was no one challenging the Brewers. There was no one challenging the Twins. There's just nobody even playing these guys. So if you look at like the AL East, where it was a dogfight, the next round, then the Rays could face Baltimore. That's a divisional matchup of two teams that were fantastic, getting out before the American League Championship game. And then you have Houston, who barely just got to 90 wins, getting a bye. They should be facing off against the next best record team. Baseball needs to fix this. I don't think it's fair that Houston would face off against the Twins or the Blue Jays, and the Orioles would end up with the Rays. That's my only critique of the current system that we have, because we take into account the division champion and we treat them better than a team that has a better record than them.
Brendan, our brother Justin had the perfect solution to this, right? Perfect solution is this. No more divisions. Get rid of the divisions. Divisions don't matter. You have American League, National League, divisions don't matter.
Well,
then you take the top 2 teams get a bye, and then you take the bottom 4 teams and they go in the wild card, and that's how you do it. That's how you do it. The bottom 6 teams. Because you're basically, the way you do it now is you're basically doing another tournament. You're basically doing a baseball tournament now, rather than an actual, like, these are the 2 best teams and they play in the World Series, which is what it used to be. The 2 best teams played in a World Series between the 2 leagues. That was it. But now, what do you have? You have this elongated version of the Little League World Series where half the teams in Major League Baseball make it because we got to get the TV ratings and everything else. And it's just, it's ridiculous. You end up with the exact situation that you're saying. Get rid of the divisions, if that's the way you're going to do it, and take the top 2 teams in each division, and top 2 teams in each league, and those 4 teams, they get a bye. And then you let everybody else fight for it. But this idea that like a team that's barely over 500 has a chance at the World Series it's almost offensive, especially when we did that podcast where we talked about how the Red Sox were winning games by like 21s and like had 90 something wins. They didn't even make the World Series.
Yes.
Today that team would have had a chance.
Yep.
That team would have had a chance. It's ridiculous.
There's a lot in the history of baseball. There's a lot of great teams that never even made the playoffs. The way they do the schedule kind of flows with that idea, because in the schedule now you play everybody evenly.
Which is also stupid.
No one's disagreeing with you, but the way that they did the schedule was also kind of a little screwy this year. Dad, any closing thoughts about that before we get into the playoff round?
I got to think about that division thing. I hear it. I still think that the divisions bring up a location competition, because the divisions are sort of set by locations. There's natural rivalry with Houston and Texas, being so close to each other and things like that. It's not perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. No, I think baseball is here, and baseball playoffs are really exciting. I think actually, as crazy as it may sound, the first round may be the most difficult to pick, because superior teams can lose in a 3-game series. I mean, you have 2 bad games and you are out. It's not single elimination like NCAA, but boy, it's close to it. Now, when you expand that out to 5 and 7 games, the good team has some games to catch up. But the first series should be very, very interesting, and I don't think any team is a guaranteed winner.
I think that's the biggest statement here, is a 3-game series in baseball is extremely difficult to pick. It's hard to project. It's hard to manage. It's why the Rangers losing the last game of the season was such a nightmare for them. They went from the bye and relaxing to now you're in a gunfight. 3 games, and you're on the road for all 3.
And Mets fans know how that ends up.
Well, the Diamondbacks lost their last 4 games and only scored, I think, 3 runs total in the last 4 games.
You're done. You're
They're
done.
ready.
They're done.
They're prepared.
It's over.
That's when you.
I'm with Brendan.
That's when you go into a shootout.
Let's see how we
and
match up
you
with the team we're
cover.
playing.
You take cover.
Put
and
money on
then-
it.
Then you're waiting on it. I happily will play some good wagers on this. That is our wild card matchup. For those taking notes, and in the end, you have the Diamondbacks SwingBadder pick, the Rays are a SwingBadder pick, the Blue Jays are a SwingBadder pick, and then the Philadelphia Phillies are a SwingBadder pick. I hope you guys look forward to the next days of baseball. Hopefully, you get to take some time off, and if you are taking some time off, enjoy all the games. Game 1 to me, an importance of winning game 1 in a 3-game series, I would say that's you got to throw everything you got at the game 1. And if you're the Brewers, especially because you're facing off some really great pitching after that. But game 1 is so critical in a 3-game series. So tomorrow's the big day. That's it, folks. I'm your host of SwingBadder. I appreciate everything that you guys do, for joining us, for hanging out, and being part of BadderSports Network. Thanks again. Enjoy the games.
Play ball.
Play ball.